PhilipMRosenzweig, The Halo Effect, and the 8 Other Business Delusions That Deceive Managers. As you delve into the summary of The Halo Effect, and the 8 Other Business Delusions That Deceive Managers by Philip M. Rosenzweig, prepare to examine the fallacies that plague the business world. Discover the powerful, often elusive, halo effect, and how it influences our perception of companies, managers, and their performance. Uncover the limitations of popular business books, learn the importance of establishing a solid strategy, and realize that short-term victories are key components to long-term success. This summary offers you a critical look at the business-related delusions that permeate our world today.
The illusion of business success. In the face of pressure to produce financial results, investors and business managers often fall victim to the halo effect, the tendency to attribute good qualities to companies that are doing well without sufficient evidence. This leads to the oversimplification of explanations for success and encourages the belief that a new CEO or business plan can easily rectify problems. In reality, these company performance stories are delusions that can be dangerous for business. It is crucial for managers to become more critical of their sources and more selective about what they believe. Many of the solutions described in business stories are based on delusions about results and performance. The book cites examples like Cisco Systems and ABB to demonstrate how the media attributes good qualities to companies that are doing well and suddenly turns negative about them when their stock prices decline. To avoid falling for the illusion of business success, managers must overcome emotional involvement and avoid quick-fix ideas. By critically examining business stories and sources, they can navigate the complex world of business with a more realistic understanding of what leads to high performance. The halo effect. Our perception of a company or person can be influenced by the halo effect, a cognitive bias rooted in our desire for a cohesive view of the world. This means that a positive impression of a company can lead us to ascribe positive attributes to everything about it, even without evidence, while a negative impression can cause us to rate everything poorly. This applies to people too. We assign a set of positive or negative characteristics to groups we perceive as effective or weak, without necessarily considering all the facts or impressions. The halo effect reveals how our biases can shape our perceptions and decisions. Beware of the halo. Leaders are often falsely attributed with qualities that are not necessarily responsible for their performance, a phenomenon known as the halo effect. Correlation is often mistaken for causality in leadership studies, causing skewed results. To understand causality and isolate the impact of one variable, data must be compared over time. Assessing the true influence of a leader's characteristics requires financial performance data and subjective data on leadership, culture, and tactics. Business magazine articles and studies of corporate culture are also tainted by the halo effect. Most studies rely on self-reporting, which produces distorted results. The complexities of measuring performance. Measuring performance in a company cannot be accurately done through a single criterion. Many studies have attempted to link performance to one area of management when it is affected by several factors. Variables such as leadership and HR management are highly correlated, making isolating a single variable ineffective. The impact of each variable on performance is typically less significant than suggested. The delusion of best practices. Researchers often fall into the trap of seeking common traits among top companies, leading to flawed results. In Search of Excellence by Tom Peters and Bob Waterman and Built to Last by Jerry Porras and Jim Collins are two popular books that succumb to this delusion. Peters admitted to faking data, and both books failed to account for poorly performing companies. They both concluded that the best companies shared traits such as personnel, values, and corporate culture, leaving a crucial question unanswered: do these traits cause good performance, or are they the result of it? Despite their faults, these books were blockbusters because they offered a story people wanted to hear and focused on easily understandable factors like customers, planning, and action. However, a critical approach is necessary when approaching best practices and considering whether they apply to all companies or are specific to the sample used in the research. The importance of high-quality data. Good research methods and a large sample size are not enough, the quality of the data is essential. This is what Built to Last's authors neglected, leading to tainted results due to the halo effect. The reality of long-term success. Built to Last companies, hailed as great, failed to sustain stellar stock market performance after the book's publication. The authors of Built to Last had identified certain characteristics that they believed made these companies great, but these traits were only outcomes of their efforts, not the cause. This volatility in the stock market is typical, and predicting success is difficult in hindsight. Success is not linear or consistent, but erratic and declining over time due to market forces. Therefore, focus should be on short-term successes rather than on the promise of permanent victory. Competitive context. In today's economy, businesses cannot simply focus on their own performance. It's crucial to compare your company's performance against others in the same industry, where competition occurs. The author emphasizes the importance of putting company performance into a competitive context, rather than viewing it in isolation. By doing so, businesses can get a clearer understanding of their strengths and weaknesses, and make necessary improvements. The author also encourages acknowledging the limits of our knowledge, rather than trying to sound like we have all the answers. Pursuing change in business. Jim Collins' Good to Great suggests that a consistent approach and unyielding plan are key to managerial success. However, studies have found that those with adaptable strategies perform better than those with rigid views. Companies that are willing to change are more likely to have better outcomes, even if they have focused strategies. Success is not guaranteed by a precise plan. The uncertainty of business. Business success cannot be replicated through a formula as there are no universal laws that govern it. While science experiments can guarantee results, the same cannot be said for business, where the steps of success cannot be predicted or reproduced. The scam of business storytelling. The best-selling business books that narrate the success stories of organizations are often mistaken for scientific guidelines, but in reality, these stories are nothing more than a marketing gimmick. The book Great by Choice debunks the idea of enduring greatness and proves the success of an organization is short-term and evasive. The key to success is not to get entrenched in the strategy versus execution debate but to focus on setting strategy and boosting operations. The book stresses on the fact that most strategies are risky, and a good decision doesn't always lead to a great result. Finally, it suggests that daily victories rather than complacency is the way to go in the long term.
Upon completing the summary of The Halo Effect and the 8 other business delusions that deceive managers, you have learned how the halo effect influences our judgments of companies, managers, and performance, seen the dangers of relying on popular business books and the delusions surrounding success, and discovered the importance of focusing on short-term victories. Ultimately, embracing persistence, a good strategy, and critical thinking will enable decision-makers to navigate the business world with a more accurate and discerning mindset, allowing for better outcomes and more informed choices.